It's the Bad and Boujee Bros.
Yeah.
Woo. Sports podcast. Jimmy Jam, Ricochet, Riley, what's happening?
Hey.
So glad to be back.
So glad to be back. Definitely. It's kind of been a minute. But I
has.
tell you, this is, we have a new addition we wanted to introduce everyone to. This young guy here, he's a superstar in the making. He's going to be taking over my job really soon because I'm an old man. Well, anyway, this young man's about 10 years old. His name is Aiden B.
All right.
Thanks for being on the show, brother.
I'm glad to be in the Bad Boujee Sports Podcast.
Awesome.
Hey, now
Glad to
remember
hear it.
now,
Glad to be here.
we use handles around here. You got Jimmy Jam, you got Ricochet, Riley, and we've got
Aiden B. Fresh. There we go.
There we go.
Wish we could turn him around and show his
I know.
name on the jersey.
I tell you what. Go ahead, turn around.
Turn around. Let us see Aiden B. Fresh.
Hold on.
Yeah, we moved it. Yeah. Check
Aiden
that
B.
out. That a boy.
He's official. He's
Yes.
official.
Yeah, it's official.
All right.
Okay.
So, Aiden, tell us what you're going to be doing for Bad Boujee Bros Sports Podcast.
So mainly I'm going to be doing youth sports. I'm either going to be at the studio recording or I'm going to be at a sporting event. Like it could be at like a middle school basketball game, middle school sporting event. I could be there interviewing players, coaches, doing stuff like that.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Man, sweet. I can tell you have all kind of energy, man.
Yup.
Man. So what is it like to be a 10-year-old with all that energy?
Well, I'm in 5th grade, so you gotta have a lot of energy to get through the day. You wake up really early, gotta get to school.
Yeah.
Gotta get through a 7-hour day. You need a lot of energy to do it.
I love it.
What kind of sports do you play?
I actually play baseball. I've played for 3 seasons. You know, I like playing baseball. I play football with my friends in the neighborhood sometimes.
Okay.
I do that. So, yeah.
All righty. Fabulous. So, as far as the sports, are you playing any organized sports or anything right now on the teams or say just neighborhood? Like a lot of us started out in the neighborhood.
Right, yeah.
I was going to say Jimmy Jam. That's how you
That's
really
how we
started.
did it. Yeah.
So, as of right now, I'm playing just not travel baseball. I think I'm going to start it this season. But right now I'm just playing baseball in an actual league. Not right now, but I'm going to start up in the spring.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do that in a league. And then I only play football with my friends. I'm not in a league with anybody. So I just do that in the neighborhood.
Gotcha.
Got it.
You know my next question for you? So what has inspired you to become a Bad and Boujee Bros podcast? Yes.
What interested you?
So my mom wanted me to start a YouTube channel. And I'm like, okay. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. And then there's some Michigan Wolverines games, and then my mom's like, okay, break down the game, tell me what happened. And then she's like recording me, and then I do this whole minute thing, and then she sends it to a friend of hers, and then he invites me to be on the show, and I'm like, well, this is a cool show. I should join.
Definitely.
Cool. I got invited to join the show, so I mean, I couldn't really say no. So yeah.
Awesome.
Here I am.
And Aiden is being paid with Snickers bars and Kit Kats.
Isn't that something?
Favorite candy.
Man, you know what I'm afraid of though?
What's that?
He may have to go to school in with security after they see this handsome face on camera, man. I tell you.
Man.
So,
Spit it out.
I had a question. I had one. Oh yeah, I remember what it is now. Sorry. Okay, that's why my name's Ricochet Riley. But anyways,
all over the place.
How do you like being in front of the cameras and all this equipment? It's the first time. How are you feeling? Are you excited? You like it?
It actually is my first time in front of a camera, to be honest, just recording. So, I mean, it's new to me, but I like it. It's exciting. It's fun.
Yeah. Something new.
Yeah, something new. Definitely.
You're a natural, I can tell.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Man, it's really easy for you, I see.
Thank you.
Man, so
Make it
can I ask you this question?
Hey, we did a taping just to kind of introduce him separately. And and man, he's a ham. I mean, he just really goes in.
Yeah, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I came into the studio. We did like a recording. It was meant to be like a 10-15 minute thing, just breaking down me. It ended up being like a 45-minute session.
45 minutes.
45-minute session.
Did you guys tell any dad jokes or anything like that during that session?
What did that?
Not really. He asked me some questions like, should participation trophies be a thing? That's one of the questions he asked me. He also asked me, should all the trophies, like first, second, third, be the same size?
What did you say?
Yeah, what is the answer to that?
For the participation trophy thing, I'm like, no, because
Love this kid.
Right. Like,
Good.
Why should they be a thing? First, second, third, they worked their butt off trying to get up there, and then fourth, fifth, all those. I mean, they got the work, but they just didn't do as good as them. So, right. First,
you know
second,
what?
third.
See, all you youngsters out there, here's a guy who's played sports, but he doesn't believe that everyone should get a participation trophy.
Right.
Yeah.
He's going to be a great athlete, I tell you. That is awesome. I'm telling you. A participation trophy. Who thought of that?
Going to be a great attribute to the podcast.
Yeah.
Awesome. Glad to have you, young man.
Glad to be here.
Man, kind of a Bad Boujee Bros Sportscast podcast. Fist bump. There we go.
Aiden B.
I got to get that out. Aiden B. Fresh. Watch out. Watch out. Little 5th grade girls. Aiden B. Fresh.
Here he comes. He's coming after you.
Yeah.
All right, Aiden, we appreciate you so much. This is your first segment on the Bad Boujee Bros Sports Podcast, and we will hear more from you in the upcoming episodes. Cool?
Yep.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having. Thanks for being on, brother.
Thank you.
All right. Yes. Fist bump, handshake. All that. Yes. Attaboy.
All right, we're going to turn it over to Jimmy Jam and Ricochet Riley, and you guys, that's what you got going today.
So what's going on, right? I mean, how have you been, man?
I know. We haven't caught up in a while.
I know.
I haven't talked to you in a while. So
I know it's okay. So how's life for a 21-year-old man?
Actually, I just turned 22.
22. My bad. 22.
Well, it's not you wouldn't know. It's like a couple weeks ago. I just turned 22. But yeah, it's pretty working right now. We got the podcast, going to school, so it's kind of a lot. But I'm doing it.
That is awesome.
It's awesome.
Man.
I'm liking this.
Well, see, I'm so old I can't even remember when I was 22.
You can't?
I think I was born this age, man. I tell you. But I'm glad to be here with you, my partner in crime, Bad Boujee Bros Sports Podcast. Yes, sir. We are here. Hey, our 2 guests have walked in right now to the podcast arena here.
Woo!
Yes, glad to have you. Glad to have you both.
Yes. All right. Aiden B. Fresh. Hey, Jimmy Jam.
What's going on?
Well, you've got a couple of special guests with you today.
Yes,
what you got going, man?
Yes, I do. I got a couple of great guys that are here that have coached various sports in their careers. I specifically asked them in this episode, let's talk about football, but we're going to get through all of that, all their coaching experiences and all that. So this young man here to my right is Coach Will Smith. And to the right is Coach Bill Trottier.
All
right. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us. Love you guys. Thanks for being here with the Bad Boujee Bros Sports Podcast. Again, we moved from last season we were Corno podcast primarily, but now we're an all sports podcast. So once we made that switch, I knew I had you guys in mind already to come on the show. So thank you very much. And I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves again and just tell us a little bit about your background and coaching, and we'll just take it from there.
Yeah, I'll go first. Will Smith. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
We'll slap you after you finish.
A little bit about me. Prior service Army. Work for the Army now as a civilian. So.
Wait. That deserves some claps.
That's right. Thank you for your service. Yes.
24 years in May total.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, you don't even look 22. How did you do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shoot.
And then as far as coaching, I really started. I played sports throughout high school. Football and baseball was my 2 sports that I played. And then I didn't get into coaching until my oldest was old enough to play t-ball, and that's where it started. And so I coached him all the way through his 13-year of football and baseball. And then my youngest is not like me.
Okay.
So I made him play 2 years of every sport.
Wow.
And then we won the championship in football, and he wasn't happy, didn't like it. And I was like, all right, this ain't for you.
Okay.
And so he found his own thing. He's creative. He's a snowboarder.
Okay.
So, he found his own path. So.
Oh, wow. That snowboarding to me, I've seen, I should know some of the names, but I've seen, some on ABC and all that. Those guys break bones and stuff like that, man.
Insane.
That's crazy. Yeah. Wow. He hasn't broken any bones or anything yet, has he?
Not yet.
Oh, that means he's really good. All right. Next, Coach Bill, tell us about yourself, young man.
Hi, everybody. My name is William Trotter. Everybody refers to me as Coach Bill. I'd like to start off saying I've been married for almost 20 years to my lovely wife, Paula.
All
Got
right.
2 kids.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. I got into coaching when my daughter was about 5 years old, T-ball, and it started ever since then. I've been coached T-ball for about 10 years. Not T-ball, softball for 10 years.
Okay.
I've been a part of football for the last 13 years. I've been a part of doing flag, middle school football I coached, youth travel teams I've coached, and now I've been a part of high school football for the last 3 years, going on my 4th year.
Awesome. So between these 2 gentlemen and myself, who's also coached, we got a lot to talk about.
Yes, sir.
And, primarily what my ideal about this show was to inform parents who have young children who are, eventually have their kids starting to play sports, and what our experience have been, and what we can advise, the parents, what they might want to consider doing as far as, with their child when it comes to sports. My main thing for me, I grew up in the city of Detroit, grew up in the hood. For me, sports saved my life. Okay. We didn't have the best facilities when I came up. When we played baseball or softball, we played in a parking lot. In the dentist office parking lot, the side of the building, the parking lot, then there was a patch of grass that was sort of outfield, and there was the street, which was the outfield. Literally the outfield.
Right.
And that's how I came up, man. And it was fun. And then once I went to certain schools, they had organized teams, and started playing, I had a background, but then I started learning how to really play with rules and things like that. So sports saved my life. Really. Get into more of that later. I don't know how you guys, as kids, how did you guys start playing as kids, and what really actually inspired you guys?
Yeah. For me, so I grew up in an all-black neighborhood.
Okay.
So as one of the minorities, I know it's flipped. It's weird, especially with my name being Will Smith. I get it. But I tried to always play sports because that was a common denominator, right?
Yes.
It was a common denominator. So
Hey, I got a question for you.
yeah.
I'm just inquiring minds want to know. So you said you were in a predominantly black neighborhood.
Yeah.
Did they call you White Will?
They did not.
Oh, okay. That's one of those nicknames I would have.
Maybe behind my back.
Well, me being of the yellow persuasion there, I had some nicknames too. So I was just wondering.
What's funny is my name when I was a kid, and then the name in the military was the same. It was Smitty. So that's where I grew up.
Smitty,
Smitty,
okay.
And then when I went to the military, it was Smitty. Yeah. But,
Sweet.
Yeah, so it really helped me build friendships that I probably wouldn't have ever. It took me from an introverted personality to being extroverted, where you were forced to go out and make friends and meet different cultures and things you weren't familiar with, and so that was the building blocks for me.
See, what you just said, get out and meeting people, whatever. To me, a person with a sports background, you know how to be a chief, you know how to be an Indian. You know how to play your part. You know what I'm saying? You don't always have to be it. You know how to be a part of a team. That's all I'm saying. You know how to play your role. As far as, to me, it has helped me out in life. And if somebody wants to be the big person, you just go ahead and let them play. To be the big guy. You know where I'm getting at. So, go ahead, Bill.
I was going to say, for me, I got into sports was my father 1988, we watched the Red Wing game together, and I got hooked ever since then. But for me, unfortunately, I didn't get to play sports as much growing up because I was less fortunate. Family of 6 kids, single mother. She could never afford to put me into sports. So pretty much, I'm a self-taught athlete.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just studied the game. The way I coach and stuff is I use strategics.
Yes, sir.
You don't have to be the biggest guy, fastest guy. Just know your opponent, and you can defeat him.
See, that's awesome, and I'm glad you're on here. I never knew that about you, of course, and I'm loving it. We could talk more about that because guess what? We're not the only ones who've experienced certain life things. There's more people out there that's going to be watching this show. Yeah, I was like that too. You understand where I'm going with this?
Yes, sir.
So it's up for us to give that information to parents and like, hey, we were the same as you were, basically. So. Let's get into football. Let's start out with that. As far as kids, we're going to talk about kids. You might see a troubled kid or whatever. So what that may not be putting in effort, or you think your parents are making them play or whatever. What do you do with a kid that you think, talent-wise, they may not be that good or anything like that? What do you do to inspire that person to give them a spur to, start doing better for themselves or whatever as an athlete?
If it's talent-based, depending on the kid, depending on how they're acting, there's different motivation things you can use with them. The issue is if they don't want to be there.
Gotcha.
And they're there for some other reason. And to get that kid motivated is really difficult because they don't want to be there.
Right.
And when it gets really hard, the kids who want to be there want to quit, And so you have this kid who doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to run sprints anymore. Mom told him to come because
Gotcha.
she needed an after-school babysitter or whatever the case was,
Oh, now I got this question for you. It popped in my head. Now, we're talking, what's the difference between a rec player, travel player, and then when they go to high school to play sports? Usually in high school, do their parents make them play, or these are the kids who want to be there for the most part? And once they get to high schools, I know you coached on both you guys have coached on all 3 levels.
Well, being a part of the high school level now, I feel a lot of these kids want to play football at the high school level. They're already pretty much well in tuned.
Okay.
It comes in the youth part of it. I've seen kids, a lot of kids actually not want to play, and the only reason they're playing is because their parents.
Because the parents are making them.
Exactly.
And I'm be honest with you, as a coach, you do find that frustrating. Like you said, other kids see, kid not putting in effort.
Especially for football, because football is a very dangerous sport at the same time. Full collision, everything. And if a kid's not in tune with that sport, or especially football, like I'm saying, you're more likely to get injured.
Yes, sir.
You just don't care. And as a coach, for me, I have a hard time putting kids out on the field like that because I feel like they're a liability. I'd rather not get – I'm not worried about losing a football game at a youth level.
Right.
It's all about training them,
Right.
getting them developmental. But when he doesn't want to do anything, I'm just kind of scared to put him out there and get him injured. You never know what could happen in football.
Right.
It's a grueling sport.
Okay. This is my next question, because you got coaches a different style of coaching, and I would say when I came up in the 1900s, early 1900s, the coaches could yell at you, talk about your grandmother, all kind of stuff. Today it is so different. Okay, you can't say anything. I mean, maybe you guys can, but I don't. Maybe you have, but it's like it is so different. To me, it seemed like I'm much older than you guys, but it seemed back then we had thicker skin, man.
That is a true fact. In high school, it still does happen. The coaches do.
They let them have it?
Oh, they'll let you have it.
Okay.
I personally don't.
Okay.
I mean, because I guess I came through the youth organization, yes, but I also look at each age level, each kid. Their development of their brain and how they treat you as a coach. As opposed to you yelling at an 11-year-old and getting them to do something is a lot different than you yelling at a 17-year-old.
Gotcha.
A 17-year-old seems to be more mature, understands that they know that you're not yelling at them because you don't like them. Right. You're only yelling at them because you want them to get their job done. 11-year-old will take that personal.
Man,
they think they don't like you. So
right.
You have to know what age level you're dealing with and what, how to deal with the kid. So I've learned that a lot in coaching. It's what age level I'm dealing with and how the kid is.
Awesome. What is your perspective, Coach Will?
Yeah, I've never been a put you down type person. I've always been a build you up.
Right.
Right. Especially for what we're going for, man. If you were on one of my teams and you came out there looking like Bo Jackson, I would get you on the right team with the right coaches, right? I was there so everybody can learn how to play the sport, do it together. And if we won a championship, we won a championship, right? But I'd rotate players, and like Coach was saying, like some of them, man, it's like you're hamstring a little bit with like playing requirements. But if you have that kid, it's like, man, like not only is he just standing there, but he's open to get hit.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So not only does the play not work because he doesn't block or doesn't do whatever, but then he might get hurt. And,
Right, right. And see, what you're saying now, especially in the youth division, parents get upset that their kids aren't playing.
Yes.
That's another thing. You got a lot of parents that use that 2 to 2.5 hours as a babysitting. They're not watching their kid. Okay, and watch at practice and how and then when it's game time, they're mad that they only get 2 or 4 plays, and there's a reason why. And what you're just saying right here is the reason why parents don't get it. They get upset too. My kid's not playing.
Most parents sometimes don't even bring their kids till 15, 20 minutes late,
Yes.
and it's like football is a very organized sport. You got to be there on time. Everything is organized for a purpose, and if you're not there. I'll be honest, when I coached my freshman team at the youth level, a couple of my top talented players were just constantly late or they didn't show up. And then you have the parent, like you said, well, my kid can run the football. Who else are you going to put back there? And I'd look at them and like, you know what, it's not about winning. I'll put another kid there. I used to do it to my son, so I have no problem doing it to yours.
You see, fair coaches is another thing, and that's, I'm sure we've all been in programs where you don't see the fair things. Like you said, kid's got all this talent, but he thinks he's too good, or the parents don't get him there on time. We know people have issues or whatever, but every practice you're going to be late? No. Then that's unfair to the kid that maybe not have as much talent, but they're hustling their butts off. Yep. So who do you give a shot to? Now, some coaches who want to win, they'll get, and that's just not cool. I've seen some of that too, So as coaches, say you're playing for a head coach or whatever, if you're not the head coach, and you see a coach that's doing that, do you have a conversation with that coach about that, or have you? You know what I'm saying, or you just leave it alone?
So I think it depends on the situation of that situation. So if you have that star player who's just not putting in that effort, you want to, whatever your team rules are, they sit a quarter or whatever the team rules are. But the situation I had when I coached in high school, the school was so small that we couldn't punish the players because we couldn't field a team, and so they knew that. And so we'd have poor attendance at practices, and then everybody was wondering why we can't win games.
See,
they weren't here.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That has to be a downer for a coach also. Because you put in a lot of time, man.
Yeah, it was
with that
11th month commitment, and that was a one and done.
Say one and done, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go into this next one. We're talking about programs. Okay, the type of programs are the winning programs or the programs you want to keep your eye on, the type of people in certain programs. I'm just going to go out there and say one of the programs that I was in, some people that took over the program, money's got missing, okay, things like that. I'm just going to be honest when I say this. People might call me a jerk for it, but my thing is background checks, or if you know something about a person's life, if that person cannot manage their own finances, how in the heck are they going to be running a team? You should not have that person run a team because there's going to be the temptation of thievery. And guess what? From what I've seen, 10 times out of 10, somebody's going to dip their hands in that pocket of money, and it has happened.
I would say this: lesson learned from a similar experience is to keep the bookkeeping. Like all parents have access to it. So there's a weekly report. This is how much came in. This is what we spent. This is how much is left. Here's the credit card statement or whatever. So everybody has visibility of it. And that keeps people. It's hard to pay an insurance bill with a credit card if everybody's going to see it on Friday.
Right. Right. No, there you go. So I mean, we had instances where the person who's running the program's kid is in the concession stand eating all the stuff all the damn time, or whatever, and it's like there's no accountability of it. Coach Bill, do you have any experiences with any of these things?
Well,
I would. You do.
We sure do. On organizations, the way I feel about the whole situation is, though, if parents are still wondering, though, I'd still, in today's society, it seems like you really have no choice. If you want your kid to excel in football or any sport, you do have to put them in an organization. It's sadly to say that middle school football, junior high football it's terrible. I mean, that's why we all put our kids in these organizations.
Yes.
So, but do your background checking, like you said. Look into these organizations first before you make your commitment, and find out, how they coached, who runs this organization, what type of person he is, and stuff like, or her. You know what I'm saying? Do your homework before you decide. But personally, I would put them in a youth organization as opposed to playing into middle school or junior high, something like that. But it is kind of a shame today that everything has to be paid for. Yeah. I mean, we're leaving a lot of kids behind that are very talented, that parents that can't afford. Everything is travel.
Right.
It's crazy out there today with these sports.
Oh man, it's pretty sad. I remember because I played cornhole, right? And they had a fundraiser for one of the baseball organizations out there, and we all know this organization. Anyway, kids, kid wanted to play, baseball or whatever, parents couldn't afford it. I told him I'd talk to the coach on the team, and he said they had some programs where they could help him out, but they didn't end up helping him. But you could tell this kid really wanted to play. His parents just couldn't afford it. Yeah. And it's just sad. And, so what do you do? What can you do? I mean,
I'll be honest, Coach, I'm trying to figure that out now. My son's going through that now. Like, for me, it's like, financially, I'm not the richest guy in the world, so it's hard to send him to all these camps. High school, right now, everything, it's like, when I was growing up, we were growing up, you were a talented high school player, you got looked at. Now today, you have to do good in high school, and then you have to go to these legacy camps or rising stars, which, to me, I just feel it's a big money grab.
Right.
I really do.
100% agree.
I feel like it's just a money grab, and there's a lot of, like I said again, a lot of talented kids that can't get exposed to colleges and stuff like that because they're just keep creating more and more where you have to spend money, and it's pushing further and further these lower communities back. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm one of them. I'm not financially stable enough to where I can sit there and be like, all right, man, you know what? I can give you $1,000 a month to go to these camps.
Right.
Unfortunately, I got to pay a mortgage.
Right, exactly. I remember that. I'm sure you guys probably remember the segment on Brian Gumbo's show. What was the sports show name? Well, anyway, Brian Gumbo. Real Sports. And they had a segment about the travel sports and whatever. And at that time, this was probably about 10 years ago, it was a $6 billion industry, okay? You got these parents paying all this money to send their kids to camp. Guess what? By the time they're done, they were between $55,000 and $100,000 they put in it. So they could have saved that money and paid for their kids' college.
Yeah.
Okay? You think about it. Now, I'm going to ask you this question because this popped into my head too. How much is it, do you think, it's for parents' ego?
94.5%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's no reason for the amount of travel leagues that we have. It's just people want to be able to have their kids decked out in nice unis and bags and
travel to hotels, see other ballparks.
Right.
Because when I was a kid, if you played travel ball, you were the
top, right.
Yeah, everybody was rec. Now it's who plays rec?
If you play rec, you get made fun of. That's what
one of my organizations, one of the last organizations my son played for, right? travel ball. You talking about some BS. Here's the coach, the head coach. He's a big fat slob. I'm sorry. Big fat slob. His kid was a big fat slob, but since that was his kid, he played every position, pitched whatever. You know what I'm saying? But his kid would never make a high school team. You know what I'm saying? So you see that too. It's like, to me, it's a big money. The only way you're going to get your kid to play, and this is an ego, and these people had money.
Yeah.
Okay, they had money. So it's like, it's an ego thing. Oh, my son plays travel ball, but yeah, dude, you run the team. It's your team. So, but could he make a real team? No.
Nope.
So, that's just me blowing off some steam. But I've seen a lot of things, and it's kind of upsetting.
It is. High schools, though, Coach, are looking at wanting travel players. It's ridiculous. My daughter went through it when she tried out for the team her freshman year. She competed against travel girls, and she was better than them, but they still took the travel girls. It's all about the money.
Oh, my gosh, Coach, can I say this to you because my daughter played softball, too. This was a while ago. Now, then you're hearing coming up while she's in the 7th grade, right? You're hearing in high school, oh, they're not going to let the girls play unless they play on the travel team. I got her on the travel team. Guess what? She ended up playing, and she ended up making the team, high school team, because the coaches asked, did you play travel? They was taking this question. The girls who did not play travel, and they were decent and better. It was like 4 girls are better than the girls that were playing. They didn't make the team. I saw this for myself.
It happened to my daughter.
See, I mean, this is just true. And then, of course, I got my son playing travel ball when he was 11, I believe. Coach Will was one of his first travel ball coaches. Yep. So
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah. So anything else, guys? We just wanted to kind of let the parents know what to look out for. You need to ask questions if you see a program. You want to know about a program, Google all that, ask other people. But you know what? I understand people want convenience and try to get in teams within proximity. Sometimes, if you can, it's go outside.
I would say, even if you can't, if you don't have the ability to pick and choose who you want your kids to play for, because it's just not practical for money or distance or whatever the situation is, attend some practices, see how it really is, not just on game days, right? See if he's coming home bitching after school because the coach did this and da-da-da-da. You're like, oh, you suck it up. But in reality, no, dude was really, got on him or whatever the case. Unnecessary.
See, there's two sides. Okay.
Yeah, or not, but because you show up a couple of times,
Right,
I would say that, be a part of it. And they notice, too. Even if they say they don't want you there, they want you there.
Right. I just remember a couple, like my daughter, how I got into coaching. I was always one, because I'm always one of those dads, because I played sports all my life. So kids got older. I'm that dad who's always at practices and stuff. I'm always there. And, so I end up coaching because, hey, you want to help? But your kid got to be decent, though, or they're not going to ask you if you want to help coach.
Right.
So thank God my kids were decent. That's how I was asked to coach, so I was help out that way. But, yeah, if you're going to be that parent that's going to be there, man,
That was going to be my advice next to parents for the football thing is don't be scared to put your kids in football. Everybody, all these parents sometimes think about the concussions and stuff. And all realistic, 8, 10-year-olds, the collisions are nowhere near. I think I've maybe seen 1 or 2 out of 4 years that I've coached with football and stuff like that. Plus, it helps teach them camaraderie, leadership, be a teammate, everything. It's really good to put them in. And if you really do care about your kid playing, I advise the parents to get involved in the organization. If you think you're just going to sit on a sideline and your kid's going to be able to play constantly, unless he's super talented, it doesn't happen.
Right.
I've seen a lot of kids that are not talented and their parents get involved, and that's how their kids get playing.
There you go. And that's just...
Takes a strong
Is
parent.
that the way?
Takes a strong parent to get your kid to go where it is.
Yeah.
Starts at home.
Yep. We talked earlier, sidebar earlier. I think it was you had mentioned it earlier, Coach, about as far as the safety concern. Once that movie came out, Concussion, people got scared. They didn't want their kids to play. Like you said, Coach Will, just get out. Coach Bill, just get out there and be involved. And you see it's not as bad as you think because they was trying to scare everybody away from playing football.
We teach different techniques now of tackling where the head doesn't come across the body. It stays out of play. The collision is a lot different today than we teach. The game is trying to get made safer, but at the same time, it still is. It's a brutal sport.
And, too, and I know organizations that have to, as far as upgrade the equipment every, 2 years or something like that now, so that helps as well. And, man, these helmets are expensive. I remember I bought my son his own helmet because he wanted to be bougie like that. I'm spending $500 on a damn helmet.
That's my son Billy. Playing for the East Side Eagles, he had the top line. What do they call those?
I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we go to high school and he's like, Dad, I got to get that helmet. And I'm like, I look at it like you said, $500 bucks.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
like, dude, insane. I can't wear the Rydell.
Right.
Shut. He had to have the top line helmets. I'm like, come on now.
Right.
Custom made. Those kids, I swear.
So, guys, you guys got any questions? Just whatever you think as far as your coaching. I mean, how does it make you feel as a person to coach? I mean, to be involved and to be part of another child's life and helping them out.
I will say that it's pretty cool. Like when you get things out of the blue. Like we have a couple of things hanging on the Christmas tree downstairs. Like ornaments from the team.
Right.
When they give you stuff, like a signed football at the end of the season, things like that. Like most of them don't even remember that, but like I cherish it. I keep it. Like I'd rather have a youth football signed by my team than something signed by Barry Sanders.
Right.
It means more to me.
Yeah. I gotta share this one. I'm not even gonna say incident. I just one time I was at a gas station in Sterling Heights, right there at 14 in Shaner, pumping gas. Some kid comes behind me. I didn't know who it was. Somebody picked me up. Picked me up. Coach James. Turned around, it was this kid. Of course, he might have been my size at the time. He's like 6'4" then. But it makes you feel good when a kid that you coach appreciates what you did and they tell you that, man. It's like, it just felt so good that kids remember you 10, 15 years later. So that means you impacted them in their life somehow. That's just one incident, man.
It's amazing.
It's a good feeling.
It's amazing.
I'm going to coattail off that. That's exactly what I was going to say. You stole my thunder a little bit.
I'm sorry, Coach. I'm sorry.
I love it when that's the most gratifying thing to me. I'll be honest. I've coached out of 14 years. I've only been paid 1 year. I've done all this because I just love working with young people and trying to show them the right way of society and everything. And when you go to another store, like you just said, I've had it, and they'll be like, oh, Coach. Like right now, as for instance, all my son's buddies and all them, they all call me Coach Dad. They freaking love me. They message me. Like I was telling Coach Will here, I coached back in 2015 out at New Haven Middle School. And New Haven didn't win a football game for 6 years. Me and my cousin, we ended up taking that team, and we ended up winning 2 games that year.
Okay.
We went 2-3-1, but we ended up winning games. But where I'm getting at is I had this one player there, and he today now, I believe he's like 23, 24 years old. He's got a child, and he texts me often. He's like, man, the 8th grade football season was the funnest year we had, Coach. Funnest year. I'm like, that's all I try to make it do is fun for these guys, man.
That's awesome. One thing, too, we talk about these kids, but guess what? This is something that is near and dear to all of us. And that's why we're here together today. For me in sports and coaching, I've formed some of the best relationships that I consider my family with people, my kids played sports with, friends with the parents, all that kind of stuff. Your family gets bigger just because, of organizations or whatever. So that's something to think about. I'm sure you got hundreds of friends. I know I have hundreds of friends now. And
I've been on vacations. I coached a certain amount of boys for 4 years in flag football, and 7 families, me and 6 other families, we all went down to Destin, Florida, and we stayed in a mansion together. And that was all football family. We just, from the years.
Isn't that something?
Oh, they're my family now. I love every single one of them.
Isn't that something? I know Coach Will's been in the service for quite a long time. Can you, like the sports part, and I just want to bring it, thank you for your service, sir. You are awesome. As far as the background with the military and your background with the sporting, as far as the groups that you hang out with, is it about the same thing when you hang out with your military guys as opposed to your sports guys that you've met?
Adults?
Yeah, talking about adults.
It's a very similar crowd.
Okay.
But I think as just on a general thing. I think as humans, we are drawn to people who are like us.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
A common interest, a common whatever, we're drawn to that. And so, most of the buddies that I have in the military that I still have, like, we still hang out, and like they're friends with friends I met here. And we moved here in 2012, and we didn't know anybody up here. And so our first earliest friend group was like 6-year-old baseball. Right.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm still friends with like parents from that team.
Awesome.
You know?
See, how cool is that, man?
I think that's where a lot of it starts.
Yeah.
I swear.
Yep. I mean, oh man, this is. I think this has been a great conversation thus far. I'm sure we got more that we can talk about too. So, and you guys got anything on your mind? You guys want to just get out there and just want to elaborate on?
No, I pretty much was sharing with parents what I think they should do with youth sports and organizations. Like I said, it's a sad thing that school football and sports, even baseball, all that it's a dying thing. You got to pay. We got maybe I don't know. Maybe we can set up some more programs to help some of these other kids get involved in that, because like I said, there's a lot of kids that get left behind.
Well, I shouldn't talk about Producer Doug. Can we talk about political stuff? I mean, instead of giving money to Ukraine, we could take this money and give kids at youth sports here in America and build them up. No, I'm just kidding.
I've been preaching that the whole time.
But really, I mean, come on,
I've been
man.
preaching that the whole time.
Yeah, but
We could do a lot with 60 billion.
Yeah, but we talked a little bit about it. A little bit. We just didn't name it. The politics of sports. Let's talk about that a little bit. We talked about the parents with the money, the kids play the position, or the dads, the big fat slob dad with the big fat slob kid, and they're playing, and other kids that should be playing. Yeah, that person should know who I'm talking about.
I think that all ties into the politics. Coach.
Yes,
it does.
Yes.
It's like, because the people who run these organizations, they know who's got the money, so they target them, specifically. Hey,
right.
I'll let your kid be the starter. Tell that coach he's going to start your kid. You fund my organization a little bit more. That type of politics happens all the time.
Well, tell me this. Give and take. Do you want to win, or do you want these kids to play? Or they make sure whoever that parent has some money, their kid is decent so they can still win. And there's some schools out there, some private schools out there that do that.
Oh, so you're saying like development-wise, or just for wait, rephrase your question again?
Okay, my question, as far as the school, will they, we talked about the parents giving money to the school so their kids can play. Will the school sacrifice winning to take the money from the parent?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh.
That's a good question.
That's a zinger.
I've heard in high school sports, I've heard of coaches doing some things as opposed of like maybe tanking a game because they know they get a playoff position.
Really?
How the new Michigan sports point system works for football, it's absolutely garbage and kind of mine, because my alma mater, take for instance Centerline High School, the year before went 6-3, won the bronze division, didn't get into the playoffs. At 6-3, it's like,
right.
And a team who's 3-6 makes the playoffs because of who they beat. It's all a point system. So coaches, it seems like coaches in high school will kind of, they'll throw a game or something. I don't know.
No kidding. Okay.
I've heard it come from players.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh man. So that might be the new NIL in high school.
Oh,
huh?
it's coming quick.
Get paid to throw a game.
Quick. It's coming quick.
Man, isn't that something? Coach Will is over here smiling. Dude, come on. You got something on your mind. Give us some dirt, man. I guess we want some dirt.
He put me on the spot.
Oh, man.
I'm enjoying the conversation.
Awesome. I like that. Way to get out of that one. Anyway, no.
Hey, I have a quick question. Local sponsorships, like different corporations and all. I mean, have you seen that to have a lot of influence on, be it favorite players or, just what's the impact? I know money is a big thing. Is it coming from corporate sponsors at the high school level?
A lot of They do where we're at. I can't say for all high schools. So, but I know for my high school, they do a lot of funding programs. We do a lot of funding, like at the beginning of the season, the kids have to get a certain amount of money funded, and then they have to get a certain amount of money funded at the end, or the parents are liable for the hook on that money. So it's not like it is. So if you're going to play the sport, you're gonna you're going to have to fund when they give you these funding things, and if you can't fund it, you're still on hook to pay that, and sometimes it's $600 a pop. I've seen that kids have to go home, tell their parent they want to play football, and they got to sell all these raffle tickets, and they don't sell no raffle tickets.
So the parents buy them.
And the parents buy them, or sometimes the kid doesn't even go home and tell their parents that, oh, we're supposed to sell raffle tickets, and they play dumb. Because I've had kids like that at freshman level come to me, and I'm like, well, where's your tickets at? And they'll be like,
I got to be honest with you. We talking about selling stuff. I'm one of them guys. At work, folks come around selling. Get out of my. I just don't want. And I tell my wife, and like with my kids, so I'm like, look, I just leave me alone, because everybody. I don't have. You can spend what, $10,000 just buying stuff from everybody in the office, man.
So I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that was good, Coach.
Freaking sports fundraising, man. So you see it all the time. They're selling squares or selling anything on Facebook. So you buy from the same 5, 10, 15 people. And then what happens when you sell those 5, 10, 15 people? We're just exchanging freaking money.
Yep.
Because I'm not going door to door. My kid's not going door to door. It's people that we know.
Right.
So we're just handing 20s back and forth.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So, that's interesting.
Let me chime in. I'm a numbers guy. I always tend to overanalyze things. But my son's elementary school came at him about a fundraiser. I think it was pizzas. They were selling
pizza kits.
Yeah. And so I looked at the amount of time that went into, soliciting people. And I don't do that. I don't like soliciting people at an office. That's, to me, is tacky. But so I went to the principal, and I asked him. I said, how about I just give you $50?
What's the buyout? Yeah.
I'll give you $50, and then we just call it a day, because you can sell 100 boxes of something, and you're getting freaking pennies on it. Just forget it.
Who's getting rich? The company.
Yeah.
That's not to you. These companies are smart. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the big chocolate one on Hall Road that sells the chocolates? Anyway, it's like you get all this free labor. You got the parents selling all this stuff. This free labor. Think about it. And like you say, the kid gets what? A plastic prize or something?
Yeah.
Sell $200 and you get a plastic whatever.
And you know what's even tacky, what high schools do too today, like most of them, especially in, the suburban schools, you have to pay also to play sports.
Yes.
So it's like they want you to pay $500, $600 for the whole year if you play multiple sports, and then on top of that, you have to do all the funding for them. And if you don't fund them, you got to pay for all that.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's
money.
It's crazy.
It's all about money today, and that's the sad part about the world today. It's all about money. It's money driven.
It's too bad.
Not just in sports too.
Oh yeah, not just sports. It's in everything. Yes, sir.
So, Dr. Craig.
Yes, sir.
Producer Doug.
Yes, sir.
Where are we on time, sir?
We're in deep.
Okay.
But it's an interesting conversation. And
Very much so.
And I think one of the things I was going to throw on the table is, at what point do they sell all of those banners and signage on the fences? Like you'll go to a game and you'll see
sponsors,
Bell Tire, or you'll see the local whatever. I mean, does that impact the teams much, or what's up with that?
It definitely helps with money, because it reduces the amount needed to be fundraised, or it fills in holes left where they didn't fundraise enough the last time or whatever. And it's usually the spring is a big fundraiser. They have them at the schools, like businesses will come out and things like that. But it's definitely a help. I don't know if anybody would turn down a fundraiser,
right?
Or a sponsor,
right?
Yeah.
The sponsorship, those are very huge to get sponsors. They do help with the equipment, but again, if we're getting all those sponsors, then why should we have to rely on parents to fund? If we're getting sponsors, where's the money going?
Right.
I know we have enough money.
It's going to these high school stadiums that look like
College.
NFL. Like,
Yeah, man.
Like
That, and then they're also like, for instance, I'm not going to say what district, but I heard an administrative lead guy was making $400,000 a year. Makes more than the president of the United States.
Isn't that something?
$400,000, and you want to charge kids to play sports, but you're making $400,000 as a board member. That's insane.
Isn't that? Yeah, that's crazy.
insane.
That's crazy.
We could be putting that money in for these kids to play.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, this was another freaking good show in my opinion. Again, this was something I believe parents want to hear. I really do, because I was that parent. I wish I'd have known some things. I didn't find out things until I already put my toe in the water and fell all the way in, man.
Don't be afraid to quit what you're doing either. Like if you're in a bad program, just do the year if you have to, but don't feel like you have to keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Don't be afraid to leave.
Coach knows that.
Oh yeah.
We spent 1 year with the Sterling Heights Redskins, and then it was bye-bye.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I was with that program 4 years before you got there, but it was ran by some really good people. I got to shout out to Coach Jim Kotz. I just got to say it. That guy, he's a businessman. He owns a bunch of Sonics or whatever, so he knew how to run a program. And he left that program with a bunch of money, and the people that took over, anyway, all that money was gone that next year in 1 year. So you got to be careful. Again, I go back to make sure you know who's running those programs. Find out what their background is. Really, I'm serious. I'm just being honest.
And the best way to do that is get involved.
There you go.
You can get on the boards. They always want board members.
Yep.
Always. You get involved and you know who you're working with.
Yes. Yep. So guys,
Hey,
Dr. Craig,
no,
you still good?
That's good. I mean, I think we really hit on some good
One last
elements.
thing.
Oh, please,
here we
bring
go.
it on, Coach.
Before I get divorced, because I forgot in the beginning. So I've been married 22 years this August.
All right.
My wife Danny, have 2 sons.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are they
He's
in
got a
sports?
beautiful family. He really does.
Are they in sports?
Yeah, sons play sports.
They were, my oldest is a senior this year. He doesn't play sports. He's going to go to Wayne State, civil
Okay.
engineering. And then my youngest is 14. He's in a snowboarding, podcasting. He does his own little podcast.
Wow.
So.
Wait a minute. Talk about the wife. Wait a minute. I got to say this.
What was that?
Coach has this room in his basement. It's like a shrine to his wife, man. Tell her what she does. She is.
Well, he's a smart man.
I'm telling you, man. She's got all these medals and stuff. Tell her what she does.
She's pretty badass. So like she'll run like marathons or 50Ks or ultras, like just run as far as you can in 4 hours, like stuff like that. Like I would be hella fat if it wasn't for her making me work. Like she keeps me in check. So.
You know what? I want to say shout out to the wives also, and we all know because we're all married. Our wives are definitely the catalyst. Yeah, we get the kids to practice, and they come with us or whatever, but they're the ones who got to wash the kids' clothes and get them up in the morning, all that kind of stuff. If it wasn't for the wives, I know I've been with my wife for 42 years, since, high school. I can't do nothing without her. I mean, she does my hair.
Hey.
She's so good, she does my hair. Anyway, but no, we need our wives. We really need our wives, for that backup, big time. So shout out to the wives.
Shout out to the
I
wives.
just
Shout out to
wish my
wives.
wife was a runner too. She runs her mouth. That's about it. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, baby. I had to throw you under the bus with that one. But thank God for
didn't
our
say
wives.
that.
Yeah,
for
he
sure.
did not did. No. But guys, I want to thank you for coming. I thought this was a great show. Maybe we may have to do a second one later. We'll see what the audience, our audience says, in the comments or whatever, and take it from there. Hopefully everyone got something out of this particular show when it comes out.
And I just want to throw this in, and we'll put it down on the screen. If you have any questions for our guests today, or just general questions about youth sports or major league sports, whatever, don't be afraid to send us an email. You can send it to me personally. That's ProducerDougCraig@gmail.com. ProducerDougCraig@gmail.com, and put in the title, Bad and Boujee question. Okay, so that'll be good. That way we can get you guys engaged and be able to get those answers you're looking for. But gentlemen, I want to thank you.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. It was
Awesome.
great. Hope we
Thanks
get to
for-
come back on.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. We may have another, a recap of this one. You never know. I'm telling you.
You know what I'd love to see is like we filtering some parents. I know. Don't we have a family show coming up?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
You know them too. Should we just announce them now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You brought them up earlier. This was I already knew.
It's one of my
who
favorite
was gonna be-
families.
That's right. I'm telling you, I already knew I was going to have these people on because I just remember when I first met this family, she had the mom had the youngest on her hip walking around practice. And now you should see them hurt. All those kids are ballers. They're in wrestling and football, all this. The Mapp family. We're going to have on DeAndre and Shakara Mapp with their family because these, I'm going to tell you, they have it down to a science with all these sports and getting kids back and forth to practices and games and all this stuff, family camaraderie, all of that. So I'm telling you, this is going to be another great show where they can give you advice on how to do all this, how to manage getting your kids everywhere.
One of my favorite families.
Isn't
I'll
that
tell you
something?
that. I love the
Oh my
Mapps.
goodness. Oh my goodness. Hey. So I hope you guys had a good time. I really do. I thank you
I
this
enjoyed
this
it.
time.
I enjoyed it.
I
Thanks,
really
Coach.
appreciate it.
All right, guys. That's it at the end of this episode. And again, thank you so very much.
Thank
Bad Boujee
you,
Bros
thank you.
Sports
Bad Boujee.
Podcast. We'll see you.
See ya.